The polluted skies of Xylos. The rust-colored clouds churned relentlessly above Xylos, a planet choked by industrial decay. Acid rain was a constant threat, etching away at the already crumbling structures of its cities. Lyra, a Xylosian with skin the color of amethyst and eyes like molten gold, pulled her thin cloak tighter around her small son, Kalen. He coughed, a hacking, painful sound that tore at Lyra's heart. "Mama, is it going to rain again?" Kalen asked, his voice raspy. He was small for his age, his growth stunted by the toxic environment and the scarcity of nutritious food. "Soon, little star," Lyra replied, forcing a smile. "But we'll find shelter. We always do." They were in the lower sectors of Viridium City, a sprawling metropolis that was once a beacon of Xylosian innovation but now a testament to unchecked greed and environmental collapse. The air hung heavy with the stench of chemical runoff and burning waste. Lyra navigated the crowded streets, her eyes scanning for a safe place to rest. A mother's heartbreak. Lyra had always been fiercely protective of Kalen. His father, a skilled engineer, had died years ago in a mining accident, leaving Lyra to raise Kalen alone. She had worked tirelessly, taking on dangerous jobs in the refineries to provide for him. But Xylos was a dying planet, and opportunities were dwindling. The medical treatments Kalen needed were becoming increasingly unaffordable. Desperation clawed at her. She had heard whispers of the Servitude Lottery, a program run by off-world corporations seeking skilled labor. Xylosians, known for their adaptability and resilience, were prized workers. The lottery offered a chance for a better life, a guaranteed job, and access to quality healthcare. But it came at a terrible cost. The winners would become indentured servants, bound to their employers for years. Lyra had always rejected the idea, unwilling to relinquish her freedom. But Kalen's health was deteriorating rapidly. She couldn't bear to watch him suffer any longer. With trembling hands, she had registered them for the lottery. The thought of being separated from Kalen filled her with dread, but she told herself it was the only way to save him. The gathering storm. The lottery was held in the city's central plaza, a vast open space where holographic advertisements flickered amidst the decay. A large crowd had gathered, their faces etched with hope and anxiety. Lyra held Kalen close, trying to shield him from the harsh reality of their situation. A booming voice announced the start of the lottery. A holographic wheel spun, displaying the names of the registered participants. Lyra closed her eyes, praying for a miracle. But she knew miracles were rare on Xylos. "The winner is Kalen of Viridium City," the voice declared. Lyra's heart leaped into her throat. Relief washed over her, quickly followed by a wave of despair. Kalen was safe, but what about her? Would she ever see him again? A representative from the Off-World Corporation stepped forward. "Kalen of Viridium City, you have been selected for a position with the Hyperion Mining Corporation. You will receive the best medical care and training. Report to Sector Gamma for transport off-world." Lyra clung to Kalen, tears streaming down her face. "I love you, my little star," she whispered. "Be brave. Be strong. A human arrival." As Kalen was being led away, a gruff voice cut through the crowd. "Hold on a minute." A tall, broad-shouldered human strode forward. He wore a worn leather jacket and had a weathered face, etched with the stories of 1,000 star systems. His name was Captain Rex, and he was the captain of a small space freighter called the Stardust Drifter. Rex was known for his no-nonsense attitude and his willingness to take on risky jobs. He had come to Xylos in search of a rare mineral needed for his ship's repairs. He had entered the Servitude Lottery on a whim, hoping to acquire a skilled mechanic to help with the repairs. "I won the lottery too," Rex announced, holding up a small data chip. "I'm entitled to a servant as well." The Hyperion representative looked surprised. "But sir, you didn't specify a candidate." You're assigned a random worker. I'll take the kid, Rex said, pointing to Kalen. Lyra gasped. But why? Rex shrugged. The kid looks like he needs a break. Besides, I could use a small, nimble helper around my ship. The Hyperion representative hesitated. Very well, sir. But you'll be responsible for his well-being. That's the plan, Rex said, his eyes meeting Lyra's. He saw the desperation and fear in her eyes, and something stirred within him. He wasn't sure why he was doing this, but he knew he couldn't leave Kalen to the mercies of the Hyperion Mining Corporation. An uncertain future. Rex approached Lyra and Kalen. I'm Rex, he said, extending a hand to Lyra. I promise I'll take care of him. Lyra looked at Rex, searching for any sign of deception. She saw a flicker of kindness in his eyes, a hint of something more than just gruffness. She took his hand, her grip firm. Thank you, she said, her voice choked with emotion. Thank you for giving him a chance. Rex knelt down to Kalen's level. Come on, kid, he said. Let's get you out of this dump. I've got a spaceship waiting. Kalen looked at his mother, then back at Rex. He hesitated for a moment, then took Rex's hand. As they walked away, Lyra watched them go, her heart filled with a mixture of hope and trepidation. She had entrusted her son to a stranger, a human from a distant world. She could only pray that she had made the right decision. The fate of Kalen, and perhaps even the future of Xylos, now rested on the shoulders of Captain Rex and the crew of the Stardust Drifter. Rex led Kalen through the bustling spaceport, the sights and sounds overwhelming the young Xylosian. Ships of all shapes and sizes were docked, loading and unloading cargo. Strange alien beings hurried about, speaking in languages Kalen had never heard. Rex kept a firm grip on Kalen's hand, guiding him through the chaos. Kalen looked up at Rex, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and wonder. Rex, despite his gruff exterior, felt a pang of sympathy for the boy. He knew he had taken on a responsibility, and he was determined to see it through. They reached the Stardust Drifter, a small but well-maintained freighter. The ship's hull was scarred and dented, a testament to its many journeys through the galaxy. Rex punched in the access code, and the ramp lowered with a hiss. Welcome aboard, Kalen, Rex said, his voice surprisingly gentle. This is your new home. As they stepped inside, two figures turned to greet them. One was a tall, slender human woman with short, cropped hair and piercing blue eyes. Her name was Valeriana, the ship's first mate and Rex's right hand. The other was a hulking alien with thick, armored skin and 4 powerful arms. He was Grok, the ship's engineer and a loyal friend to Rex. Valeriana raised an eyebrow, looking at Kalen with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Grok simply grunted, his expression unreadable. Rex, what's this? Valeriana asked, her voice sharp. Did you adopt a pet? Rex sighed. This is Kalen, he explained. I won him in the servitude lottery. He's coming with us. Valeriana crossed her arms. Rex, we don't have room for a child on this ship. We're not equipped to take care of him. Besides, we have important jobs to do. I know, Val, Rex said. But I couldn't leave him there. He needs help, and I think we can provide it. Grok lumbered forward, his massive frame filling the corridor. The small one is welcome, he rumbled, his voice surprisingly deep and resonant. The ship has space, and all can contribute. Grok will teach him the ways of the engine. Valeriana looked surprised by Grok's support, but she didn't argue further. She knew that Rex and Grok were a team, and their decisions were usually for the best. Fine, she said, relenting. But he has to pull his weight. No freeloaders on the Stardust Drifter. Rex smiled. Thanks, Val. I appreciate it. Kalen is a smart kid, he'll learn fast. He's eager to help. Besides, he may prove useful with his Xylosian knowledge. Kalen stood quietly, observing the interaction. He was intimidated by Valeriana's stern demeanor and Grok's imposing size, but he sensed that they were good people. He wanted to prove himself worthy of their kindness. Over the next few weeks, Kalen slowly began to adjust to life aboard the Stardust Drifter. He was fascinated by the ship's technology, spending hours watching Grok tinker with the engines. Grok, despite his gruff exterior, was patient and kind, answering Kalen's endless questions and teaching him the basics of engineering. Valeriana, while still strict, warmed up to Kalen, recognizing his intelligence and his willingness to learn. She taught him how to read and write in Galactic Basic, the common language of the galaxy. Rex, meanwhile, found himself becoming increasingly fond of Kalen. He had never been a father figure before, but he enjoyed Kalen's company. They would spend hours talking about Xylos, about Kalen's life, and about his hopes for the future. Rex admired Kalen's resilience and his unwavering optimism, even in the face of adversity. Kalen, in turn, saw Rex as a protector, a strong and dependable figure who would always be there for him. One day, as they were traveling through hyperspace, Rex found Kalen staring out at the swirling vortex of stars. "What are you thinking about, kid?" Rex asked. "I was thinking about my mother," Kalen said, his voice soft. "I miss her. Do you think I'll ever see her again?" Rex put a hand on Kalen's shoulder. "I don't know, kid," he said honestly. "But I promise you, I'll do everything I can to help you find her. We'll search the galaxy if we have to." Kalen looked up at Rex, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Rex," he said. "You're the best." Rex smiled. He knew that finding Lyra would be a difficult task, but he was willing to do it for Kalen. He had come to care about the boy, and he wanted to see him happy. He also realized something else: he wasn't just helping Kalen, Kalen was helping him. The boy had brought a sense of purpose to his life, a reason to keep fighting, a reason to keep exploring the galaxy. He started to view Kalen as a kind of son to him. Life aboard the Stardust Drifter settled into a comfortable rhythm. Kalen thrived, his health improving with each passing day. He became an invaluable member of the crew, learning the intricacies of the ship's systems and assisting Grok with repairs. Valeriana, impressed by his quick mind and dedication, began to trust him with more complex tasks. Rex watched with pride as Kalen blossomed, his heart warming at the sight of the boy's happiness. He started seeing Kalen as a son, the son he never had. One day, while docked at a space station on the fringes of explored space, Rex received a coded message. It was from an old contact on Xylos, a former refinery worker named Jorin. The message was brief and urgent: "Kalen is in danger. The Shadow Syndicate is searching for him. Get him off grid." Rex felt a chill run down his spine. The Shadow Syndicate was a ruthless organization that controlled the black market on Xylos. They were known for their brutality and their willingness to do anything for profit. What could they possibly want with Kalen? He gathered Valeriana and Grok in the ship's galley. "We have a problem," he said, his voice grim. "The Shadow Syndicate is after Kalen." Valeriana's eyes narrowed. "The Syndicate? What do they want with a kid?" "I don't know," Rex said. "But Jorin's warning is clear. We need to protect him." Grok slammed his fist on the table, the metal groaning under the impact. "The Syndicate will not touch the small one. Grok will crush them." "We need a plan," Valeriana said. "We can't just run and hide. The Syndicate has eyes everywhere." Rex thought for a moment. "We need to find out why they want Kalen. Jorin might have some information." He contacted Jorin again, sending a secure message through a hidden channel. Jorin replied quickly: "The Syndicate believes Kalen possesses a unique genetic marker. They think it holds the key to something. I don't know the details, but it's dangerous. Rex felt a knot tighten in his stomach. A genetic marker? What could it be? And what did the syndicate plan to do with it? We need to get to the bottom of this, Rex said. Val, can you track down any information about the syndicate's activities on Xylos? I'll see what I can find, Valeriana said. But the syndicate is good at covering their tracks. Grok turned to Kalen, who had been listening quietly. Small one, have you noticed anything unusual? Anyone asking questions about you? Kalen shook his head. No, Grok. But, there was a strange man who watched me sometimes when I was with my mother. He had cold eyes and a scar on his cheek. Rex's heart sank. The syndicate had been watching Kalen for a long time. They had probably been waiting for the right moment to strike. We need to leave this space station, Rex said. Now. We can't risk staying here any longer. They quickly prepared the Stardust Drifter for departure. As they lifted off, Rex felt a sense of unease. He knew that the syndicate wouldn't give up easily. They would hunt them down, no matter where they went. As they jumped into hyperspace, Rex gathered Kalen close. Don't worry, kid, he said, his voice reassuring. We'll protect you. I promise. Kalen looked up at Rex, his eyes filled with trust. I know you will, Rex, he said. You're the best. Rex smiled, but inside, he was filled with worry. He had no idea what the future held, but he knew that the Stardust Drifter was now in a fight for survival. The Shadow Syndicate was a powerful enemy, and they would stop at nothing to get their hands on Kalen. The safety of the boy, and perhaps the fate of something larger, rested on his shoulders. His ingenuity, his resilience, and the strength of his newfound family would be tested as never before. The vastness of space offered no guarantees, only the cold reality of a galaxy where shadows lurked, waiting to consume the light. The journey ahead would be fraught with peril, but Rex knew he had to protect Kalen, not just for the boy's sake, but for the hope he represented in a dying galaxy. The Stardust Drifter hurtled through hyperspace, leaving the space station far behind. Rex knew they couldn't outrun the Shadow Syndicate forever. They needed help, and they needed it fast. He thought of old contacts, people he had met during his years as a drifter. One name came to mind, Dr. Eris Thorne, a brilliant but eccentric human scientist who specialized in genetics. Eris was a recluse, living in a hidden laboratory on a remote asteroid, but Rex knew he was one of the few people who could understand the Syndicate's interest in Kalen's genetic marker. Val, plot a course for the Kepler 186f asteroid belt, Rex said. We're going to pay Dr. Thorne a visit. Valeriana raised an eyebrow. Eris Thorne? You haven't seen him in years. He's practically a ghost. I know, Rex said. But he's our best bet. If anyone can figure out what the Syndicate is up to, it's him. As they approached the asteroid belt, Rex contacted Eris through a secure channel. After a tense silence, a voice crackled through the comm system. Rex? Is that really you? I thought you were dead. Not yet, Eris, Rex said. But I need your help. It's about a kid, and the Shadow Syndicate. Eris's voice turned serious. The Syndicate? This must be important. Come in, I'll guide you to my lab. Eris's lab was hidden deep within the asteroid, a maze of tunnels and chambers filled with strange equipment and bubbling vats. Eris himself was a sight to behold, a wiry man with wild, unkempt hair and eyes that sparkled with manic energy. He greeted Rex with a hug, then turned his attention to Kalen. So, this is the boy the Syndicate is after, Eris said, examining Kalen with a scanner. Fascinating. His genetic code is unusual. I've never seen anything like it. What does it mean, Eris? Rex asked. What are the Syndicate planning to do with him? Eris spent hours analyzing Kalen's DNA, poring over data and muttering to himself. Finally, he turned to Rex with a grim expression. "The Syndicate isn't interested in Kalen himself," he said. "They're interested in his genetic material. He carries a rare gene that allows for unparalleled cellular regeneration and adaptability to extreme environments." Valeriana gasped. "They want to weaponize him. Create super soldiers or something." "Worse," Eris said. "They're planning to create a bioweapon. A virus that can adapt to any environment and wipe out entire populations. Kalen's gene is the key to making it unstoppable." Rex's blood ran cold. The Syndicate wasn't just after Kalen, they were after galactic domination. "We have to stop them," Rex said. "But how? We're just a small freighter crew." "You're not alone," a voice said from the doorway. A figure stepped into the lab, a tall, slender alien with shimmering blue skin and piercing green eyes. She wore a pilot's uniform and carried herself with an air of confidence. "This is Zira," Eris said. "She's a skilled pilot and a friend of mine. She's been tracking the Syndicate's movements for months." Zira nodded. "I know their base of operations," she said. "It's a hidden research facility on the planet Cygnus 7. They're preparing to launch the bioweapon soon." Rex felt a surge of hope. They had a chance, but they needed to act fast. "All right," he said. "We're going to Cygnus 7. We're going to stop the Syndicate, and we're going to save Kalen." As they prepared to leave, Eris handed Rex a small device. "This is a genetic disruptor," he said. "It can neutralize Kalen's gene, preventing the Syndicate from using it. But be careful, it's experimental. It could have side effects." Rex took the device, his heart pounding. He knew that this was a risky mission, but he was willing to do anything to protect Kalen and stop the Syndicate. He looked at his crew, Valeriana, Grok, Eris, and Zira. They were an unlikely alliance, but they were united by a common purpose: to fight for justice and to protect the innocent. As they set course for Cygnus 7, Rex knew that the fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. He hoped their combined ingenuity, resilience, and determination would be enough to overcome the darkness that threatened to consume them all. The vast expanse of space held its breath, waiting to see if these unlikely heroes could bring a dawn of hope to a galaxy teetering on the brink of despair. The Stardust Drifter, with Zira expertly piloting, descended through the turbulent atmosphere of Cygnus 7. The planet was a desolate wasteland, scarred by centuries of industrial exploitation. Twisted metal structures and toxic lakes dotted the landscape, a grim reminder of the Syndicate's greed. Rex felt a surge of anger as he looked out at the ravaged planet. The Syndicate was not just a threat to Kalen, they were a threat to entire worlds. He was determined to stop them, no matter the cost. "The Syndicate's facility is located deep within the Cygnus Mountains," Zira said, her voice calm and steady. "It's heavily fortified, with multiple layers of security. We'll have to be careful." As they approached the mountains, they detected a squadron of Syndicate fighters patrolling the area. Zira expertly maneuvered the Stardust Drifter through the canyons, evading the fighters' sensors. "They've spotted us," Valeriana said, her fingers flying across the console. "They're coming in hot." Zira weaved and dodged, the Stardust Drifter responding nimbly to her skilled handling. Grok manned the ship's cannons, firing bursts of energy at the pursuing fighters. One by one, the Syndicate fighters fell from the sky, their wreckage scattering across the desolate landscape. "We're almost there," Zira said. "But the landing zone is heavily guarded. We'll have to fight our way through." Rex grabbed his weapon, a pulse rifle he had carried for years. "All right, team," he said. "Let's show these Syndicate thugs what we're made of." They landed the Stardust Drifter near the entrance to the Syndicate facility. As they disembarked, they were met with a hail of laser fire. Syndicate soldiers poured out of the facility, their weapons blazing. Rex and his crew took cover behind the ship, returning fire with deadly accuracy. Valeriana provided covering fire with a heavy machine gun, while Grok used his immense strength to smash through the Syndicate's defenses. Kalen, despite his small size, proved to be a valuable asset. He used his knowledge of the ship's systems to disable the facility's security cameras and communication systems. He moved quickly and silently, dodging laser blasts and outsmarting the Syndicate soldiers. As they fought their way through the facility, Rex saw the true extent of the Syndicate's depravity. The facility was filled with laboratories where scientists were conducting gruesome experiments on innocent people. They were injecting them with strange chemicals, twisting their bodies and minds. Rex felt a wave of nausea and disgust. He couldn't believe that anyone could be so cruel. They finally reached the main laboratory, where the bioweapon was being prepared for launch. The room was filled with complex machinery and rows of containment chambers. In the center of the room, a team of scientists was working feverishly, their faces illuminated by the glow of the equipment. Standing guard over the scientists was a tall, imposing figure in black armor. His face was hidden behind a mask, but Rex could sense the power and ruthlessness that radiated from him. This was the leader of the Syndicate, a man known only as the Overseer. The Overseer raised his hand, and the scientists stopped their work. "So," he said, his voice cold and metallic. "You've finally arrived. I've been expecting you." "It ends here, Overseer," Rex said, his voice filled with anger. "You're going to pay for what you've done." The Overseer chuckled. "You can't stop me, human. The bioweapon is almost ready. Soon, the galaxy will tremble before the Shadow Syndicate." "Not if we can help it," Zira said, stepping forward. "We're not afraid of you, Overseer. We're here to fight for what's right." The Overseer smiled. "Brave words, but they won't save you. Prepare to die." With that, the Overseer unleashed a torrent of energy from his hands, blasting Rex and his crew backward. The battle had begun, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Rex knew that this was the ultimate test, a fight against overwhelming odds. But he also knew that he couldn't back down. He had to protect Kalen, he had to stop the Syndicate, and he had to bring hope back to a dying galaxy. The human spirit, the strength of his allies, and the ingenuity they possessed would be their weapons in this desperate fight against the darkness. The echoing chambers of the laboratory became a stage for a final stand, where courage and determination would determine the future.